Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Elizabeth Dutton.
Zaron Burnett.
Oh my God, do I have a question for you?
Uh-huh.
Do you know what's ridiculous?
I do.
All right.
Funny you should ask.
Share it with me.
Grillo's Pickles.
Yes.
We've talked about them before.
Course.
It's ridiculous. They have this thing called Pickle Paradise.
Uh-huh.
And it's June 7th to the 22nd, so I think we missed it, in New York. And it's like a pop-up, right? And they have all this, like, you know, free hot dogs and burgers and what have you.
Okay.
This was sent to us by a couple different people just because they know that you and I, particularly you, love Grillo's Pickles.
Yes.
But then as I'm looking at it, then it said Grillo's Pickles University. Because, like, the pop-up's not ridiculous. That's just cool.
Yeah, that's just cool. I'll give you that one.
Grillo's Pickles University. And it said, we're getting ready to open applications for the fall 2024 semester.
I don't understand.
Like, is it just open admission? Like, what goes on? So I click learn more.
Of course you did.
It says no exams, no stress, pickles.
Uh-huh.
But then, thanks for your interest in Grillo's Pickles University. Submissions for this semester are currently closed, but feel free to enter your information below to be alerted of future opportunities. We appreciate your interest and support.
So they just want your information?
I guess, but like, and then I tried to find information. What is Grillo's Pickles University? And on their Instagram, they just said it's coming soon. Click to stay informed. But like, what is it?
So you learn to pickle? Is this where you...
I don't know.
Can you get a major in pickle mongering?
I don't know, but you can sign up on the Grillo's Pickle website to get a year's supply of pickles.
Okay. So this is just like website, like gaming?
I guess.
They're like, give us your information.
But the Pickle University, I don't know. Zaron, I just don't know.
Now, see, listener Aaron Mumford wrote to me personally to warn me that you may be coming with some Grillo's Pickles madness at me. And I appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron, for the warning, the mashup protection. But it turns out that wasn't the one you threw at me.
Was it like a perfume?
It was the Pickle de Gallo.
Oh, no, I have that in my refrigerator.
Yeah, there you go. So,
I legitimately do.
You live by that.
I do.
Live by
I
the
have
sword, die
Pickle
by
de
the
Gallo.
sword. Uh-huh.
But yeah, apparently there's a perfume or what have you. But anyway, the university, that just struck me as ridiculous. And on that note, I bid you ridiculous.
Okay, ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
Well, if you got a second.
I do.
You do? Nice. Okay, do you remember, well, you probably don't remember, but have you ever like seen like in videos and references and like sports highlights about how professional sports in the U.S. in the 1970s had this super high level of outrageousness and just general silliness?
Yeah, I don't remember it personally,
exactly.
but
like,
sure.
Think the San Diego Chicken.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're familiar with the San Diego Chicken, right?
And like Tommy Lasorda pitching a fit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you've seen images of the 70s sports.
Yeah,
That's my idea. Okay, now for today's story, let's omit the chicken. And in his place, we'll sub in a cheap beer promotion in the Midwest.
Okay.
And instead of San Diego, we'll relocate to Cleveland.
Okay.
Elizabeth, you ever heard the story of 10-cent beer night?
No.
Oh, have I got a fun one for you?
Sounds like a disaster.
Oh, it is. This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous.
Yes.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Oh, Zaron.
You love the baseball.
I do.
Or at least you used to love it before the A's broke your heart.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about baseball these days?
I've soured on MLB.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the whole thing is a sham.
So you're now down to minor league baseball?
Well, no, not even minor league. I'm into Pioneer League.
Pioneer League? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
which is like minor league.
Yeah.
But we have a new team
it's like
here.
A-ball?
I don't know. It's like Z-ball.
Okay.
They have a team here in Oakland, the Ballers.
Nice.
The Oakland Ballers. And
you getting tickets?
I haven't been able to because all the games have been sold out.
Dang.
They just started. They're doing really well and they seem really cool. And so that's my new thing. Pioneer League.
Nice. I'm into it for you.
Like pure baseball.
Well, do you mind hearing a baseball story?
I love to hear baseball stories.
Okay. Elizabeth, do you know who the manager of the Texas Rangers was back in 1974?
Glenn Ford.
If only. No, it was the one and only Billy Martin.
Oh, okay. And then he later goes on
To be, a Yankees and A's
and then
manager.
The A's.
Yes.
Billy Ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't know he managed the Rangers
Nor
in
did
74. This is a total shock to me.
Obviously, I didn't know either.
And I thought I knew some Billy Martin, more than the average bear.
A lot of us thought we knew Billy Martin.
I know, right? Yeah. So this one, as I can just promise you, because it has Billy Martin, it's going to get good.
Nice.
Now, the story, even if the idea of 10-cent beer night starts you think, oh, Cleveland, it started in Texas. Because, of course, it started in Texas.
Sure.
This story, we'll begin it on May 29th, 1974. The Cleveland Guardians, then known as the Cleveland Indians, were facing the Texas Rangers, right?
Okay.
Now, the game starts to get unruly in the fourth inning after there's this hard slide play at second base on a double play. In the bottom of the eighth inning, the Cleveland players get their revenge. There's a bunt, and then there's a tag out at first base, and this batter leads with his elbow, and he collides with the first baseman. Boom, he disrupts him. In response, the first baseman throws a punch. That's it. Both benches cleared. Massive brawl in the diamond. And so the Cleveland players, eventually they get, pulled back to their dugout. But the Texas fans, they're not over it, right? So as they're going back to their dugout, they're just getting rained down on by hot dogs, beers, whatever they got, right? So as these half-eaten hot dogs and half-warm beer from Texas are raining down on the Cleveland players, they're just fuming, right? One player, because, there's always at least one, the catcher for Cleveland, this dude named Dave Duncan. He tries to go into the stands and fight the folks.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yes, because they've been attacking his teammates with hot dogs and beer.
Sure.
That can't stand, Elizabeth. So the catcher, he has to be held back from climbing into the stands to beat on these Texas fans. That's in May, down in Texas. Now, Elizabeth, as wild as that game was, the game featured no suspensions, no forfeiture of the game, no players were ejected.
What?
Exactly.
Even though he got all up in the stands?
Exactly. Umpires were like, yeah, it's cool. Whatever. It's a beach chill. Nobody got hurt, right?
It was a different time.
Very different time. Now, in a few weeks, Texas and Cleveland were set for a series up in Cleveland, which is why after the game, Texas Rangers manager Billy Martin, he's being interviewed by the reporters, right? And this Cleveland sports writer, he asks him, are you going to take your armor to Cleveland, Billy? And always quick to pop off. Billy Martin's like, nah, they won't have enough fans there to worry about.
Oh, ouch.
Okay, so a little context about Cleveland, Elizabeth. In the 1970s, do you know much about Cleveland in the 1970s?
I'm going to guess it was awesome.
Yeah. So in the 1970s, the Cleveland Ball Club at that point is the Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Huge cathedral to baseball, built in 1932. The Depression was on. They still managed to make it be built with public funds.
Oh.
Right, actually, it was 1928. They approved the funds. But anyway,
okay.
This huge cathedral to baseball, stadiums, it seated 74,000. Right?
74,000.
Now, it was the biggest one in baseball. For comparison, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, constructed a decade earlier, paled in comparison when it came to seating. Like in the LA Coliseum, where the USC they played, also a really big one. They would later host the 32 Olympics. And many people thought the Municipal Stadium would host the 32 Olympics. That's how grand this place was,
the
right?
Cleveland Olympics.
Exactly. But it loses out to LA and, of course, the Coliseum. Now, that site decision, you could say the Olympics, like Summer Olympics choice to be in LA, not in Cleveland, you could say that marked the end of Cleveland's era of ascendance, right? 1930, because as soon as you basically... Well, I'll put it this way. In 1928, right, Cleveland, when it built Municipal Stadium or started to build it, the city had just passed St. Louis to become the 5th most populous city in the United States. 4 years later, 1932, Cleveland is now looking to pass Detroit to become the 4th most populous city in the United States. We're talking up with the big kids now, New York, Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. But you see, Elizabeth, the city, it had reached its zenith. They didn't know this at the time, but from that point on, Cleveland just starts to fall, and just keep hitting harder times and harder times, losing people, shaking them off. Now,
and somehow I think it just got cooler.
Oh, totally,
cooler.
In my opinion.
Same.
Now, today Cleveland is, well, here, I'll let you guess. Where do you think Cleveland ranks now on the list of the most populous cities in the United States?
Oh, wow. 12th.
54th.
54th.
For comparison's sake, that puts Cleveland just behind Wichita, Kansas, and Aurora, Colorado.
You're kidding.
In terms of size, and just ahead of Honolulu and Anaheim.
Wow.
Cleveland is now just a little bigger than a city that was built to house Disneyland. Okay, so basically Cleveland's heyday, as I pointed out, its peak was 1929. And if you just track like one day before the stock market crash, that's Cleveland's peak. Because
hasn't
from that point
Cleveland
on,
been on an upswing of
lately,
late?
yes. I mean, it has really come around. A lot of those old Rust Belt cities, Pittsburgh, same thing. They've definitely, Cleveland has really tried hard.
Is Cleveland the one with the really dirty river?
I'm just about to tell you about that.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm glad you mentioned it. The Cuyahoga River.
Yeah.
What do you know about the Cuyahoga River,
Didn't it
Elizabeth?
catch fire or something?
Yes. In 1952,
bless.
the Cuyahoga River caught fire. This was not the first time it had caught fire. This is, in fact, the 9th time it had caught fire. Now, you have to understand, like this river, it winds through downtown Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So when a river catches on fire, and rivers are not supposed to catch on fire,
Right.
and it's in the middle of downtown, it catches a lot of attention. Now, but obviously, it takes some oil and pollution to be on the top of the river. That's what catches fire. But this happened over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Now, surprisingly, at the time, a river catching on fire was not really a big deal. They're like, oh, did it catch fire again? Oh, ho, ho, ha, right? But people outside of Cleveland, they're like, what the hell? And then in 1969, as, attitudes about the earth are changing, the river catches fire again. This time, it's impossible to ignore because in 69, the flames reached 5 stories high.
Wait, what?
You have flames as tall as a downtown building burning on the river.
I didn't know it was that huge.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
But now, I don't want to over-exaggerate it because the fire only lasted a half an hour. So
only.
So it wasn't like burning for days.
I have such a soft spot for places like this.
Totally.
Coming from like a hard scrabble industrial city like Oakland, and that gets a bad rap, and yet there's a lot of cool stuff.
A lot of heart, great people.
Heart,
if you stay for a reason.
Yeah. So
my mom lived in Cleveland. I've been there a bunch.
Okay,
I
so I have
it.
simpatico.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, we have also the Cuyahoga River catching on fire in 1969. We have to thank it because it was a hugely influential event to the passage of the Environmental Protection Act in 1970.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So it was also a perfect symbol, like an indication of how far Cleveland had fallen. So we got, ups and downs in either way.
Yeah.
Throughout the 60s, Cleveland has been watching its factories and its industrial base basically close up shop and move out of state or out of overseas.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, when I say factories, we're talking 600 factories left town.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's
So how
rough.
does all this connect to 10-cent beer night, Zaron? Great question,
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
that's a really good question, Zaron.
Obviously, in 1974, people in Cleveland were down to drink. They had a thirst, right?
Yeah.
After watching all the factories close and the river and downtown burn over and over again, people in Cleveland were feeling a little rambunctious.
Well, and to weather that, you got to be made of tough stuff, and you got to, like to get down with 10-cent beers.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe laugh at the bleakness of life sometimes.
Sure.
So, but meanwhile, they had not been going to ball games. They weren't typically in the mood for a ball game because everybody's on hard times, right? So they're like, oh, we're not going to go see these bummer, Cleveland players.
Yeah.
So in May, at the beginning of that baseball season, Cleveland was seeing about an average of 4,000 spectators walk through the gates of their enormous cathedral.
That's some Oakland A's numbers
Exactly.
right there.
I thought you'd recognize those numbers. Now, most of the season, the team, like as I said, their business attendance, typically they were having about 85% of the seats go unsold.
Okay.
So one day, Executive Vice President Ted Bonda takes a look at the ledger. His eyes grow wide at the sight of all that red. He's like, we're going to lose the franchise.
Oh, yeah, totally.
The team is losing money faster than you can say, like, I don't know, MC Hammer's
John
entourage.
Fisher.
Yes, there you go. So this cat, Ted Bonda, he's desperate to turn around the fortunes of his team. He looks around. He sees this idea that seems to be an answer to his prayers. Texas Rangers hold this promotion. He gets butts in the seats, fills the whole place. They call it 10-cent beer night. So it's exactly as advertised. It's all the beer you can drink for 10 cents
There's
a pop.
no limit.
Oh, Ted Bonda says to himself,
No limit soldiers on that one.
what if we threw our own 10-cent beer night? We could do that. So in the meantime, Cleveland goes down to Texas and gets into that bench-clearing brawl.
Yeah.
In response, the Cleveland sports radio talk show hosts Pete Franklin and Joe Tate, they fire up the fandom. They have this homestand coming up, and so Cleveland could be playing host to the Rangers. Now the team can get its revenge before the home field fans, Elizabeth. The Cleveland Plain Dealer, the newspaper, they get involved on it. They're like, oh, we got to hype this, right? They print a cartoon of the Cleveland mascot, Chief Wahoo, and he's got boxing gloves. The caption reads, "Be ready for anything."
Oh, God.
So this is now 6 days after the bench clearing brawl. Not even a full week, the Texas Rangers come to Cleveland. Coincidentally, they arrive on 10-cent beer night.
Oh, coincidence,
Yes,
huh?
the promotion totally works. 23,500 fans show up. up. That's 6 times their average.
Whoa, I love it.
The beer sponsor for this promotion is Stroh's. You remember Stroh's?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, this is getting better and better.
The promotion offers beers at 10 cents each, as I said, with a limit of 6 beers per purchase, but no limit on how many purchases can be made or how many beers can be purchased by any individual outside of that 6 per time.
6 at a time.
Yeah. Now the stage for the June 4th, 1974 10-cent beer night is set.
Oh, God.
Let's take a little break, Elizabeth.
Yes.
And after this, let's play ball.
Ow.
Elizabeth.
Zaron.
We're back.
Yay.
Okay, so let's get into this game.
Yes, let's.
So when the Texas Rangers manager, Billy Martin, he comes out to present his lineup card to the umpires for the game, the Cleveland fans start booing him, just mercilessly, right? This sets the tenor for the game. Now, when it comes to accounts of what's to come, we're lucky because we have not just a few eyewitnesses. We actually have the story told from the perspective of the very guy who starts the riot. Oh, yeah, there's a riot at some point.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah, this dude's name, he's a 19-year-old fan named Terry Yurkich.
Okay.
And in 2007, his story was told in the Cleveland Magazine by writer Andy Netzel.
Terry.
So according to Terry Yurkich's account, I was 19 and in my first year in college. This was like no game I'd ever been to, and I've been to a lot of Indian games. I went to the game with 5 friends. We're sitting up in the center field bleachers, right? So he's enjoying
Ditka?
Yeah, totally. So he's enjoying this game. He's from Chicago. What can I tell you?
Yeah, okay.
Terry Yurkich, he also remembered the beer trucks. A beer truck was set up right behind the home run fence. Truck looked like a big box, like a U-Haul truck. They had all the kegs inside, the spigots coming out the side. At first, people paid attention to the game, but eventually, most people were more concerned about getting their beer. Now, also, we know that without prompting, hundreds of fans had all arrived at the game. No one told them to do this, and they all bring pocketful of fireworks.
Oh.
Yeah, right? So as Chief Wahoo told the fans, be ready for anything.
Well, yeah, and he was
And
all
they listened.
gloved up.
Totally. So starting from the first pitch, fireworks start popping off, right? The smoke and the bangs and the smell of gunpowder, it's giving Cleveland Municipal Stadium the feeling of a war zone, Elizabeth. Now, according to my man Terry Yurkich, people were blowing off firecrackers in the bleachers. They weren't big, but they were big enough. Everyone was trying to steer clear of them, but the security never even gotten involved. Now, since it's 1974, there's other smoke coloring the air. Pot smoke, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Clouds of it, right?
This is like, you could have this in Oakland.
Totally.
Like today.
This is, yeah.
It was just everything
We could go to
smells
the game
like
tonight.
weed.
Yes.
The cops do absolutely nothing about people breaking the law.
Yeah.
I love this.
So there's, as I said, there's this recognizable lawless vibe that you would know from Oakland, and this vibe starts to spread through the crowd. By the top of the second inning, things are already becoming a little unhinged. After the designated hitter for Texas Rangers hits a home run, this very large-breasted woman seated on the first base line, she jumps over the wall, runs out onto the diamond, she stops at the on-deck circle, and then flashes her breasts at the crowd.
Oh, God.
The already now starting to get drunk, buzzing crowd essentially responds exactly how you might imagine.
Sure.
Also, a very young crowd, we'll say, is attracted to 10-cent beer night.
Think of it, yeah, because you normally are pulling in like 4,000 people, and now you're almost to 24,000.
Yes.
So you got 20,000 people basically
Who are not your regular sports fans.
who are there for
Beer.
10-cent beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're getting bare-breasted women, so they hoot, they holler, they're
God.
loving it. Then she tries to run up and kiss the umpire. This guy, Nestor Chilak, he's not down, Elizabeth.
Oh.
The woman gets escorted from the diamond.
Well.
Right? But now she started a whole mood because throughout the second inning, other fans were like, I would also like to hop onto the field and get naked.
And show my bazookas.
So men, women, everyone just starts streaking across the field, right? Stark naked. One Texas Ranger player, Mike Hargrove, he recalls how, and I quote, "It started out with a couple of people doing it, then it was 5, then 10, then it was a whole bunch." I don't know how many a whole bunch is, but it's more than 10. Anyway,
More than 10.
High school fan named Jack Barno, who was there with friends, he's seated in the upper deck that day, and he remembers how
When people were streaking across the field and the cops were chasing them, they were laughing like, you can't catch me. There were a handful of cops on the other side with billy clubs. And when they came over that fence, they met them with a couple whacks to the head and dragged them off.
So now we got violence popping off.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's only going to stoke violence in the crowd. Yeah.
Of course. All right. And they're like bringing out the billy clubs, whacking people drunks on the head. Right. So there are people like, oh, I see how this is turning.
Well, it makes me think of the A's had novelty bat night.
Yes.
And that's just basically handing out billy clubs.
Yes.
So it's a bad combo.
So fourth inning, that same Texas Ranger DH hits a second home run. After he's rounding second base on his way to third base, a naked man joins him on the diamond, also trying to round second base.
Oh my God, yes.
But the streaker decides, you know what? While I'm here, I'm going to take my one chance at a major league slide. He goes for sliding face first into second base, totally naked, Elizabeth.
Ow.
You know how baseball gravel is and how it's like, oh, that looks like red clay or whatever.
No.
Yeah, no, it's going to rip you up, right? So the streaker sliding into second, the local papers put in a quote, probably getting dirt in places unsuitable for speculation. You're damn right.
He just needs to blame Stroh's for that.
So at this point in the fourth inning, we have fireworks going off every few minutes, women flashing their breasts, young men running naked across the field, showing off their bait and tackle, and damn near everyone is getting drunker and drunker and drunker.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Then a Cleveland player hits a rocket shot right back at the Rangers pitcher, Ferguson Jenkins, old Fergie Jenkins, hits him square in the gut, drops him on the mound, right?
Oh, no.
While Fergie Jenkins is lying there on the mound, writhing around in obvious pain, a chant breaks out amongst the Cleveland fans. Hit him again! Hit him again! Harder! Harder! Hit him again! Hit him again! Harder! Harder! So,
wait, I would pay money to go back in time and go to this game. It sounds amazing.
So that same inning, right, there's a play at third and a Cleveland base runner is called safe. So manager for the Texas Rangers, Billy Martin, does what Billy Martin does, comes storming out of the dugout full speed.
Dust kicking.
Yes, you know his move, right? Mm-hmm. So he's attacking the ump, kicking dust on him, ruining his socks. I mean, he's the best, right? So Billy Martin arguing the call. We're deep in the game now, right? So fans are deep in their cups. They have a shot at him on the field. So they start chucking beers at Billy Martin. The umpire starts catching strays. It's getting bad. Hot dogs are hitting him, right? So Billy Martin, being the peach that he is, he refuses to get mad. Most of the beer is missing him anyway. So while he walks back to the dugout, he's blowing kisses at the Cleveland fans. Like, eat it up. Gotta love Billy Martin.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, the next inning, the fifth inning, a father and son, Elizabeth, taking a part in that long-beloved American tradition of enjoying a baseball game together.
Oh, that's...
They stand up, they jump over the wall and run onto the field.
Yes.
Then they lower the pants and they moon the Texas Ranger outfield.
No.
The crowd in the bleachers watching goes nuts. The drunken fans, they love it. They hoot and holler some more.
Oh, sure.
We got more flesh on the field. The Texas Ranger players, not so much. Hands on hips, heads down. They're just like being humiliated, basically. Security runs onto the field. They chase the father and son as they yank up their britches and try to get away. At this point, like I said, it's the fifth inning. What's the beer situation like on 10-cent beer night, Zaron? Great question, Elizabeth. So at this point, according to Terry Yurkich, it was taking 20 minutes to get a beer. People started to get pretty impatient. Tables surrounded the truck, right? The workers pouring the beer would fill up any container you brought them. I had a big Dog and Suds mug, maybe 32 ounces. It looked like a little mini keg. So now people are sucking out all the beer they can get into their heads, right? People are filling whatever they can bring in front of the Stroh's people. It didn't take long to turn into just chaos, right?
Yeah,
Back to Terry Yurkich. The crowd grew and more patient, and they threw the tables to the side. The people who were manning the truck basically abandoned it. And the police were standing right there. They didn't seem to care. Or maybe they thought they couldn't handle that many people.
Probably.
So now the cops, scared, outnumbered, we're still only in the fifth inning.
Oh, my God. And they kicked over the tables in front of the beer. Oh, boy.
As Terry Yurkich says, some guys stopped filling their containers and just put their mouths right under the taps. On the field, the streakers just keep running. Things were escalating.
You think?
So around this point in the game, right, one fan, he throws a tennis ball down onto the field, right? Just, I don't know, a joker,
like it.
right? A little
like
bit of humor. He throws it into center field, but he's one of your people, Elizabeth. He doesn't want to leave his mess for someone else to clean up. So instead, he hops down onto the field. He runs over in the middle of the game, grabs his tennis ball, and he throws it back to his friends in the stands. Like, I got the ball, guys. So at this point, Elizabeth, stadium security, they're on him. They know they got to be quick on this. So this guy, he sees the security coming, so he gives him a little head fake. He ditches one security guard, gets chased by another.
Oh.
Now, while he's running, this fan sees him and shouts at this ball retriever guy. Elizabeth, this may be my favorite part of this entire story.
Oh, boy.
The guy in the stands who shouts is a long-lost relative of the ball retriever and recognizes him on the diamond.
No. Oh, my God.
The ball retriever guy points at his fan and realizes that he's his family, and then he runs over towards him. At the same time, the long-lost relative comes down the steps, and he hops the fence, and then he runs onto the field. The two relatives hug on the diamond in the middle of the game. Full-on
so
impromptu
good.
family reunion.
It's so good.
The security guards catch up to them because remember he gave them the head fake before.
Yeah.
Now the two guys are hugging. They get tackled by security.
It's worth it.
The ball retriever guy shoves security off of him. He hops back into the stands where his family just came from. He escapes. He gets shielded by all the drunk fans. They won't let security chase him because they love his scofflaw antics and his family's story. I mean, it's beautiful.
It's heartwarming.
The long-lost relative, though, he gets grabbed by security.
Oh, no.
So the fans, they don't like this outcome, Elizabeth.
That was a sacrifice fly is what that was.
They let the security have it. Beers come raining down, but also golf balls. Now they found small rocks from the stadium floor, little pieces of cement. A shoe comes down, hits one guy. These people are drunk, so they're throwing now whatever they can reach.
They brought equipment for other sports.
Yes.
They brought tennis balls, golf balls.
Exactly. A hockey puck going to come on the field.
They told them to be ready.
Exactly. Cleveland listens. Cleveland true. So at this point, the PA announcer comes on the stadium speakers, asks the fans, please do not throw litter onto the diamond, right?
Oh, yeah, that'll stop.
Crowd's response is to throw way more stuff onto the field. So now it's just a rain immediately timed. Ground crew is like, oh my God, are you guys scared of me? They go out, they have to clear the field of all the larger objects so the game can go on. So now the fans use the ground crew as target, like it's duck hunt. They got these guys going back and forth. They're like, yeah, tag them. So now they're throwing more stuff at the guys cleaning up the stuff they've been throwing. One woman looking to get her piece of the spotlight, Elizabeth, she hops the low fence, runs onto the diamond. She waves at her fellow fans as she runs across the ballpark. Now, she's not a streaker. She's fully dressed. But when she stops running, because, why not? She wants to get her time in the spotlight. Before the security can get to her, the crowd urges her, take it off! Take it off! Oh,
God.
So she pretends to do a striptease for the crowd. Security gets to her first before any clothes come off. When they do, the woman then turns and attacks the security.
Oh my God.
Like a cat throwing paws. She's just clawing at the air. Security forces her to the grass. Crowd goes nuts. They're like, police brutality! Police brutality! Firecrackers get thrown onto the field at the security. That feels fun. So someone's like, what if we throw them into the dugout? They're like, oh, we can't reach that, but we can reach the bullpen. So they throw them at the Texas Rangers bullpen.
Oh, no.
This big boy, long daddy of a firecracker, Elizabeth, when it goes off, it sounds like a grenade. Players are hitting the deck. The umpire, Nestor Chilak, stops the game because now he's got warfare, real warfare.
Yeah.
He orders the Rangers bullpen evacuated for the players' safety. He tells the managers, I'll let him warm up on the mound. It's fine. So around this point.
I mean, at what point do you say, that's it? We're calling? Okay,
No.
yeah. Oh.
We still have a couple more innings before it really gets
in the
loose.
Sixth?
Yeah, we're about in the sixth at this point, coming into the seventh. So at this point, Mike Hargrove gets brought into the game as a substitution, and he plays first base. And for his intro to the game, he has to dodge a half-gone jug of Thunderbird wine. The Thunderbird
Oh my God.
barely misses his head by inches. That's his intro to the game. He's
God.
go take first. He's like, okay. I said, what the? So, Elizabeth, nothing really says I want to get stupid drunk tonight like a half-drunk bottle of Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jug, as I said, misses him, but the hot dogs don't. So he's getting pelted by hot dogs. Some beers are hitting him at his feet, right? So before Hargrove's first inning is over, a new group of streakers runs out onto the field, and they come from the third base side, and they run onto the field dressed, but then they quickly decide to get undressed once they're on the field. They're like, well, let's do it here.
It just felt right.
I think they were envious of the woman who got all the claps and attention.
Sure.
They're like, we can do that too, guys. And so they go out to left center field and they strip, right? So they started, then also, we need something to defend ourselves against the security now that we're, defenseless.
Yeah.
So they grab the padding off the left field wall and start ripping that down.
Wait.
And then the people in the crowd are like, give us some. So they throw some of the pads up into the bleachers. And then they start running around the fields with some of the other chunks they've ripped off the walls. Security is exhausted by this point. So they're like, who wants to go? Steve, So they go running back out on the diamond. They chase these nude hellions all around the ballpark. The crowd is cheering and clapping. Radio guys, Herb Score and Joe Tate, who've been amused at first by all this, they're now commenting on the families gathering up and fleeing the stadium in scared groups, right? So now we're in the seventh inning, and the beer is still somehow flowing. Thank you,
How many
Strohs.
kegs did they come with?
Trucks, Elizabeth, trucks.
Oh, my God.
So the cops have given up. Some of them started drinking. They're now enjoying the game. It's in the eighth inning, the Cleveland front office is notably seen getting up and easing out of the scene.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh, yeah. Like, we no longer want to be involved with what we've started.
Oh, God.
So it's pandemonium, Elizabeth, and everyone that's sober at this point is leaving. Then comes the ninth inning.
Oh, boy.
The game, by the way, is close. The Rangers are up. In the bottom of the ninth, Cleveland rallies and ties the game 5-5. We got a tie game, folks.
No.
Bottom of the ninth, tie game.
So it's not like, I mean, if it were a blowout.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could call it easily.
boy.
But we got to, years later, the substitute first baseman, old Mike Hargrove, he recalls how, I remember nothing about the game other than in that inning we were in trouble. They had runners on and it looked like they were getting ready to score and go ahead. Then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. So before the game is over, old Terry Yurkich, he wants to grab a souvenir from the 10-cent beer night fiasco.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
what's he do? He hops down onto the field, and he's a big boy, Elizabeth, like a big Serbian boy.
Good
so
for him.
he tries to drunkenly sneak up and steal the hat off the head of a player while the game is going on.
Oh, my God. I love that. It's amazing.
I'll let Terry Yurkich tell you. So in the ninth inning, I hopped the fence and I ran up to Texas outfielder Jeff Burrows. When I jumped, I was the only one on the field. I came running up behind him. He never saw me coming. I grabbed the hat right off the top of his head. Now, Mike Hargrove remembers it a little differently. Hargrove said, some big, great guy, drunk guy, took Jeff's hat. I was one of the first ones to get there, right? So back to Terry Yurkich. I had it in my hand, but I dropped it. It landed right by his foot. He didn't say a word. Our eyes met. I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I said, oh, hell. Jeff Burrows, right? Rangers right fielder, professional athlete, sick of it all.
Yeah.
He's over it, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Ninth
yeah.
inning. He just needs one out to go home.
Right.
So this professional athlete, he rears up and he kicks this big drunk 19-year-old and boots him backwards away from him, like, get the hell off my field. As Terry Yurkich puts it, he kicked me right in the thigh. I had perfect spike marks in my thigh. A few more people were now piling onto the field at that point. I wasn't going to bend down and get the hat. I was in retreat mode. I wasn't trying to hurt him. I was just trying to get a little souvenir. So Mike Hargrove runs from first base, and he's going to go defend the outfielder, right? So Hargrove says, I tackled him and knocked him down, and it took like 3 cops to handcuff him. Thank goodness he was on the ground. I took off or else. So the cops do not actually successfully handcuff him because Terry Yurkich slips away.
Oh, God.
Big Serbian kid. What can I tell you, Elizabeth?
Right.
So he runs towards the Texas Rangers dugout. That's his escape plan. He's like, I'm going to get through the tunnels. So he's drunk, right? So, and there are fans everywhere now because they're streaming onto the field.
Yeah.
They think the game's pretty much over. Yurkich, he still wants a little something for the effort.
And it's tied up at
tied
5.
up, 5-5. Bottom of the ninth. It's their,
So they're looking for a walk-off.
It's their stand. Yeah, they can have a walk-off win, right? Terry Yurkich, he recalls, my brother and another friend, they tried to get in the Rangers dugout to get souvenirs too. So now they've jumped down and they've joined him, right?
Novelties party trick.
But Elizabeth, Billy Martin, he don't play like that.
No.
Terry Yurkich recalls, the players started swinging bats. The fans got chased into the outfield. Well, that's right. Billy Martin, he decides he won't let a bunch of Cleveland fan hippie kids play him like he's a punk. So armor, no armor, whatever. He's ready to take on all of Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Well, they're armed. The baseball players have bats.
Oh, yeah. Well, wait a minute. I should have told you that. The fans are also jumping down well armed. Some have knives. They've taken stadium seats and ripped them out, and they're using them like clubs.
Oh, no.
It's a fair fight.
Okay.
Except for the numbers. So let's take a little break. And after this,
Yes.
I'll tell you what happens when bad Billy Martin goes to war against Cleveland.
Oh, God.
Okay, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Where were we? Oh, that's right. All hell broke loose. So now that we've got hell turned loose, Elizabeth, I'd like you to close your eyes.
My eyes are closed.
And I'd like you to picture it. Elizabeth, it's a warm spring night in Cleveland. Stars above, a soft breeze blowing through your hair. You were invited to a Cleveland baseball game by a friend from work. You've been working at a home for retired seeing eye dogs. It's been a long week, and you thought a ball game sounded fun. A night out at the ballpark. You haven't been to a game in forever. Only when you get there, you find out it's 10-cent beer night. So now you and your work friend, Grunhild, both play along. You have a few 10-cent beers, and then you have a few more, because why not? Win in Rome and all that.
Exactly.
By the end of the game, much like the 20,000 other fans in Cleveland Municipal Stadium, Elizabeth, you are now drunk. When you look down at your feet, you see that you're standing in grass, in right center field. Oh, that's right. You came over the outfield fence with a rush of people. You leapt down into the outfield. It wasn't that first group who stripped off their clothes and got nude and are still running around. No, you're with the second, maybe the third, fourth group. Who knows? Who cares? What you know for certain is you're running and laughing, drunk in Cleveland and on the field. Meanwhile, Texas Ranger Billy Martin is in his dugout with his team, and he can see his right fielder getting surrounded by drunk and now armed Cleveland fans. Billy Martin decides he's seen enough. Billy Martin pops up off the bench. He grabs a fungo bat for batting practice. He turns to his team and addresses them like they're his men, and this is war. Billy Martin says, "Let's go get 'em, boys!" The Texas Rangers, true to their name, follow their leader into the fray, all of them ready and prepared to hurt some people to get their man back safely. You, Elizabeth, are in a happy drunken mood. You're dancing with Grunhild in right field. With linked arms, you both spin around. Grunhild is startled. She lets go of your arm, and you try to take a few steps and regain your balance. You barely do, just in time to see Billy Martin coming flying out of the dugout like he's ready to argue with some umpire over a blown call, only this time he has a fungo bat over his head, and he's running right towards you. And the Texas Rangers are right behind him. They also have bats in their hands, and they're using them, swinging them. One drunk fan who charges Billy Martin, he goes down with a good swing of the fungo bat. Billy Martin has good reason. They're facing down a mob of drunken fans, Elizabeth. Not you, but the ones around you. The ones who are armed with bottles, knives, chains, pieces of stadium seating. Oh yeah, seeing all of this, Elizabeth, you also start to half panic. You're still very drunk, so you quickly look around, eyes swimming, and you see you're approximately with, 200 drunken fans and your coworker, Grunhild, plus Billy Martin and the Texas Rangers. Now rushing into the scene, bats swinging, throwing fists. There's one Texas Ranger there near you, the right fielder, Burrows. He's also surrounded. Elizabeth, you duck as Billy Martin takes a swing at you with his fungo bat, and then he runs past you, aimed at some hippie kid. You lie there in the outfield grass as the Texas Rangers surround their man. The grass feels cool and soft as you lie there. You consider just staying there in the grass as the fight goes on above you, but you change your mind after a pair of nudists streak past and one waves at you and looks like they're coming back. The Texas Rangers have been ambushed. You, lying in the cool grass, you watch this crazy fight going on above you and the stars above the fight. You think to yourself, Cleveland. You see some fans start throwing red clay dirt from the warning track at the Texas Rangers. Now you have cheap fireworks coloring the sky as red dirt explodes against Billy Martin's angry, shouty face. He's standing just above you, waving the fungo bat, and you hear him shout, "Let's get out of here, boys!" Elizabeth, you lie in the grass as the drunken fans chase Billy Martin and his Texas Rangers out of the right field. You also wonder where Grunhild is. You haven't seen her. And there she goes, dancing past with another woman who's stolen a Texas Rangers ball cap. At least someone got their souvenir hat.
God.
At this point, Elizabeth, seeing Billy Martin and the Texas Rangers retreat to their dugout, the Cleveland manager, Ken Aspromonte, he leads a charge of his own. To save and protect Billy Martin and the Texas Rangers, he's going to save them from the drunken mob that's threatening them. So Aspromonte tells his team to grab their bats, their fungo bats, whatever they can swing, and it's time to go to work on their own fans.
Oh, you're kidding.
So the Cleveland players clear the bat racks.
What?
They charge out of the dugout, and they fight their own fans all the way across the ballpark to right field to help defend the retreat of Billy Martin and the Texas Rangers.
So the baseball brotherhood is stronger.
Totally.
Okay.
They're all on the same level. So, Elizabeth, at this point, the game is functionally over. It's a full-blown drunken riot in the Cleveland Municipal Stadium. The crowd has taken over the field, and they're not giving it back. The local Cleveland radio guys, Herb Score and Joe Tate, they begin to call the riot for the radio audience. They're like, why not? Yeah, their talk gets recorded in the Akron Beacon Journal, so I have some of it here for you.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Tate, he's the first one to start, and then the other guy is obviously Herb Score. Tom Hilgendorf's been hit on the head. Hilgy is in definite pain. He's bent over holding his head. Oh, that is an absolute tragedy. Absolute tragedy. I've been in this business for over 20 years, and I have never seen anything as disgusting as this. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I just don't know what to say. I don't think this game will continue, Joe. The unbelievable thing is, people keep jumping out of the stands after they see what's going on. Well, that shows you the complete lack of brain power on the parts of some people. There's no way I'm going to run onto the field if I see some baseball player waving a bat out there looking for somebody. Oh, this is tragic. The whole thing is degenerated now into now we've got another fight going with fans and ball players. Oh, Hargrove has got some kid on the ground, and he is administering a beating. Well, that fellow came up and hit him from behind is what happened. Boy, Hargrove really wants a piece of him, and I don't blame him. Look at Dick Sims out there. He's doing it at it. Yeah, Duke is in on it, huh? Here we go again.
Oh, my God.
So, at this point, Terry Yurkich has escaped the madness.
Okay.
He's now looking on from a safe distance at what all he started. Then everybody discharges the field, and everybody's on the field. It was out of control. The police were overwhelmed. So the Cleveland players, the Texas players, along with their managers, Aspromonte and Billy Martin, they fight their way through the drunken crowd with the bat, swinging fists, the whole bit. Some players are hurt at this point. Other players, regardless of what team they're on, they help the wounded ones off the field into the tunnels like they're surviving the beaches of Normandy, right? The less injured ones act as a rear guard, and they're swinging the bats and to keep the crowd from overtaking them, right? The players and managers, their plan is to safely make it into the dugout, get into the tunnels, and then lock the doors once they're in the stadium bowels. So they got to keep the fans off them so they can get the door locked.
Oh, God.
The players disappeared. They must have gone into their clubhouse. All over stadium, so many people were drunk. Somebody threw second base into the stands. It just did seem dangerous to me at the time. So, Terry Yurkich, he's getting worried at this point, right? Interestingly, Elizabeth, Mike Hargrove said nearly the same kind of thing. Well, he said, and I quote, "I don't remember being scared. I don't remember feeling I was threatened. I didn't feel that way when it was going on until we got to the clubhouse. Looking back out there at what went on and could have gone on, then I got a little shaky." So they're all seeing their lives flash before them once they're in safety.
Sure.
And at this point, the teams, they lock the doors to their clubhouse, they bunker down, and they hide out from their drunk, rampaging Cleveland fans. They can hear them in the hallway banging on the walls.
Kidding.
Oh, yeah. Outside on the field, the fans are ripping apart the field. They've stolen all the bases. They rip up seats. They throw them onto the field. They destroy the grass. They take grass for souvenirs. Hot dogs and beer are still filling the air. Fans are throwing them now just at each other. Like, what the heck? Souvenir hunters are pocketing anything they can. Bats, gloves, batting gloves, fungo bats. They are rifling through everything, right? The teams barricaded themselves, as I said, in their clubhouse. Drunken Cleveland fans are banging on the walls and on the doors, looting, wilding out.
Very January 6th.
So the radio guys continue to call this post-game chaos. The security people are just totally incapable of handling this crowd. They just, sort of the National Guard. I'm not sure they can handle this crowd right. It's unbelievable. Just unbelievable. People will go back to their seats and others jump down to take their place. The bases are gone. So they're just losing it because now they're watching the cathedral get torn down by the vandals. At this point, the organist, safe up there in her perch, she begins to play Take Me Out to the Ball Game just to mark the absurdity of all of it. Meanwhile, the umpire, old Nestor Chilak, he has to decide what to do, right? He's like, I don't know. I don't want to end the game. Cleveland's just tied it. Runners were in scoring position when the game got disrupted in the bottom of the ninth.
Oof.
Surely these hometown fans, no matter how drunk and unruly, all they have to do is return to their seats or just clear the field and the home team can win. Nope, these Cleveland fans, well past that, Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah.
They just want grass, souvenirs, blood. Finally, a hunting knife gets thrown at the umpire and it lands at his feet, blade into the grass, like hilt standing up. And then he gets hit by a piece of stadium seating in the head.
Oh, God,
umpire's
call the game.
Okay, that's it. He forfeits. He calls the game and he forfeits it in favor of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Then he hightails it out of the stadium. The game is now officially over as far as MLB is concerned. 19-year-old who started all this, Terry Yurkich.
Yeah.
He's watching the drunken chaos consume all before him. People were on the field for a long time. They announced the game was being forfeited, and it got even crazier. It didn't even enter our mind that they'd forfeit. We were all disappointed, but the Indians weren't very good then anyway. It's not like it cost them a pennant or anything.
What did they think would happen?
I don't know.
Yeah, just
They're
keep
drunk,
playing.
Elizabeth.
Just play around
They're
us.
very drunk.
Play through.
Anyway, for 20 minutes, the fans continue to run amok now. Everyone's gone.
That's a long time.
Totally. Cleveland PD finally arrives, and they now have numbers large enough and sober cops to calm things down. 9 fans get arrested for God knows what. I mean, I don't know how you make a distinction of who to arrest in this scene.
Yeah.
They must have been absolutely just murdering a child or something.
Only 9?
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea. The Cleveland players, they escort the Texas Rangers to their team bus to ensure
sure they can safely escape the stadium.
Right.
Meanwhile, local and sports writer trying to cover the story, Dan Coughlin from the Chronicle Telegram, he interviews fans streaming out of the stadium. This sports writer, Elizabeth, he gets punched not once, but twice, right in the face.
Oh,
right?
no.
Now, back to madcap Serbian Terry Jurkic. Nobody in my group was arrested, but we all got home separately. We didn't watch the news or anything. We were not in much condition to watch TV, you know? We weren't worried about getting in trouble once we got out of the stadium without being arrested. So
Oh, my God.
we made it out safely. I knew you'd be worried about Terry.
I was worried about Terry.
So when he's asked about the what all just went down in Cleveland, the Texas Rangers manager, Billy Martin, says in his post-game press conference, "That was the closest you're ever going to get to seeing someone get killed in this game of baseball. Burroughs seems to be surrounded. Maybe it was silly for us to go out there, but we weren't about to leave a man on the field unprotected. It seemed that he might be destroyed."
Oh, my God.
He sounds like Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, the manager for Cleveland, Aspromonte, when he gets asked about the drunken ambush and like leading a melee against his own fans, he says, "It's not just baseball. It's the society we live in. Nobody seems to care about anything. We complained about their people in Arlington last week when they threw beer on us and taunted us to fight, but look at our people. They were worse. I don't know what it was, and I don't know who's to blame, but I'm scared."
He's not mad. He's disappointed.
Yeah, buddy, I've got some bad news for you about the future.
Oof, la, la, la.
And more personally, at the end of the season, I got some other bad news. He becomes the ex-manager. He's fired after Cleveland goes 77-85.
Well, there's that.
So after the game, the umpire, old Nestor Chilak, he's interviewed by the press like everybody else, and he holds a bloody compress to his head during his interview.
For effect.
Totally. He's notably heated. And he says, and I quote, "Animals. You just can't pull back a pack of animals. When uncontrolled beasts are out there, you got to do something. I saw two guys with knives, and I got hit with a chair." So the umpire at this point, he pauses, Elizabeth. He thinks for a hot second, then he adds, without any explanation, "If the war is on tomorrow, I'm going to join the other side to get a shot at them."
Whoa.
So
Whoa.
the ump wants to fight the fans too, like Dave Duncan over here. So I like to think that he's prepared to join the commies against the US of A.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing he really means like helping the cops put down the hippie kids.
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, the Cleveland PD, they, as I said, they arrived in time to keep things from getting too far out of control. Like, we're still within our 99% murder-free.
Right.
So in the end, the cops show up, they turn off the lights, and they tell everyone to go home like Cleveland Municipal Stadium is a bar.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even kidding. The cops just go in, they go, "You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here." And they turned off the lights. And it worked. All the drunk people, they acted just like it was a bar kicking in them out. They knew exactly what to do. Now, quick question.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the sheer number of drunk drivers on the road leaving that stadium? I'm thinking like 16,000.
Oh, God. Well, it's like anytime there's some big crazy thing, I always think about like, that's the place for a DUI checkpoint.
Oh, completely. But then?
Yeah, they didn't really do that then.
This is before drunk driving was even like really a concept people talked about. That's when people would still go, "Hey, a beer for the road, Bob?"
Yeah, exactly.
A road soda?
Right.
So as a post-mortem on the riot and the chaos in Cleveland for their 10-cent beer night, the American League president, Lee McPhail, he comes out. He issues this edict for all of baseball. All promotional events are canceled pending league review. And then, Elizabeth, 1 month later, in July, Cleveland holds another 10-cent beer night.
No.
I swear to God.
No.
And that time went off without, less of an incident. It wasn't this. So
Okay.
there you go. And finally, just as our little coda, in 1991, Mike Hargrove returned to Cleveland to be the team's manager.
No.
And in his office, on his wall, he kept a framed photo of 10-cent beer night.
Oh.
So what's our ridiculous takeaway here, Elizabeth?
Those kind of like crazy events make great stories later on, but in the moment I think it'd be hilarious. I would love to have been there, but I think that, if you're in the middle of it, the adrenaline kicks in and it could be very scary.
Oh, yeah. These were all people were all like one decision away from like accidentally killing themselves, falling off something.
It could have been really bad.
There was a lot of luck in this place.
Yeah. Zaron, what's your ridiculous takeaway?
Oh, my goodness. Could I hear that again?
Zaron. I can't.
Dave, she almost did it. Anyway,
So close.
I'm just going to play that again for myself. 1 second. Oh, that is nice. Okay, yeah, my ridiculous takeaway is You know, we don't really give baseball its due for how many great stories it brought to America. Because we always think like, oh, hockey's so violent, football's so violent. Man, baseball.
I love a bench clearing brawl.
I'm telling you, right? Or coming in like spikes out on a slide. I mean, just like we don't give baseball enough credit, you know?
Yeah, everyone thinks it's a slow game, and it is, that's why I like it. But, you know, it has its moments.
Yeah, like don't charge the mound against Juan Marichal. See what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
Anyway, you in the mood for a talk back, Elizabeth?
I am always in the mood for a talk back.
Talkbacks. Oh my God, did he just say that?
OMG. Hey, Elizabeth and Zaron, it's Wendy in Baltimore. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. Of course, yours is 99% murder-free. A lot of the other ones I listen to are pretty much 100% murdery. So I was listening to one of those murdery ones, and they're setting the stage in the beginning, and in their very serious, somber tone, they said something like, it's June 21st, 1991. And immediately my brain said, 1991, Point Break.
Yes.
That's incredible.
You know, that's when that came out, Elizabeth, 1991.
It did.
Point Break came out in 1991.
That's what happened in 1991.
Yeah.
Point Break came out.
So
that's amazing.
Thank you for that talkback. That was fun. And as always, you can find us online, Ridiculous Crime, at all the social medias, or at least half of them. Anyway, we have a website, ridiculouscrime.com, and obviously we love your talkback. So please hit up the iHeart app, download it, record a message, and maybe you'll hear your voice on the show. And, of course, also emails if you'd like at ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. And as always, type Dear Elizabeth. Now, there you go. So that's all I got for you. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by the fearless manager of the Ridiculous Crime All-Stars, Dave Houston. Research is by Billy Martin's biggest fans, Marissa Brown and Andrea Song Charpentier. Our theme song is by Thomas the San Diego Chicken Lee and Travis, formerly Stomper the A's Elephant, Dutton. The host wardrobe provided by Botany 500. Guest hair and makeup by Sparkle Shot and Mr. Andre. Executive producers are Ben, I'm an oil can Boyd man myself, Bolin, and Noel, I prefer Mookie Wilson, Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.